Hey guys, this is Michael Ashuri, immigration lawyer based in Los Angeles, California. And today we are going to be talking about reentry permits. So let's get started. First and foremost, what is a reentry permit? A reentry permit is a travel document similar to a passport that helps to protect your status as a U.S. lawful permanent resident. So here's an actual reentry permit. You can see it right there. It's kind of like a small booklet. It looks like a passport. It's a turquoise color. But yeah, basically, as a lawful permanent resident, certain types of travel can put your status as a green card holder at risk. Really prolonged travel, travel for longer than 6 months can put you at risk. Very frequent travel, constantly being outside of the United States can put your status at risk. These kinds of travel can potentially be harmful to your status as a permanent resident. So yeah, this kind of ties into my next point. So why would someone need a reentry permit? If they travel frequently, what I just mentioned, if they're traveling for longer than 6 months, if you can't get a passport from your home country. So, we have clients all the time that for whatever reason they can't get a passport from their home country, so they apply for a reentry permit. In many cases, the reentry permit, the country that they plan to travel to, will honor the reentry permit as a valid travel document. Another case where you would want to apply for a reentry permit is if you're warned by an immigration officer that you need to apply for a reentry permit. And basically, what the reentry permit does is that it creates a legal presumption that you do not intend to abandon your status as a U.S. lawful permanent resident. So what are the requirements to get a reentry permit? First requirement is that you must be a green card holder. You must be a U.S. permanent resident. If you're not a U.S. permanent resident, you're not eligible to apply for a reentry permit. Next one is that you must be physically present in the United States when your reentry permit application is received and accepted by USCIS. If you're outside of the United States and you think you can just fill out the form and apply and no one will know, it's not the case. If you're not physically present in the United States when your application is received and accepted by USCIS, then the application will be denied. It's a question that we get all the time, and it's a pretty straightforward answer. You must be in the United States when your reentry permit application is filed, otherwise it'll get denied. You must attend a biometrics appointment in the United States. The biometrics appointment is an appointment where you show up to a USCIS application support center. You go in, you get your fingerprints taken. Very straightforward, but it's one of those requirements that you must do if you want to qualify for a reentry permit. Next, so how long does it take to get a reentry permit? So there's basically 3 steps in the reentry permit process, so to speak, or 3 basically like stages in the reentry permit process. The first stage is that once you file your application, USCIS will send you a receipt notice confirming that they received and accepted your application. That typically takes about 7 to 14 days from the day you file. The next critical stage is when you receive the biometrics appointment notice. This typically takes about 4 to 6 weeks to get this notice from the time you apply for your reentry permit. And the biometrics appointment typically takes place about 7 to 10 days after you receive your notice. It's typically a pretty short window from the time you get your notice to the actual appointment day. And then finally, the reentry permit being issued. This typically takes about 3 to 5 months from the time you apply for your reentry permit. It takes about 3 to 5 months. So what can you do if you can't wait 3 to 5 months for the reentry permit? This is a case that we deal with all the time, where the person is in a very big rush and they need to get their reentry permit right away. So there are multiple potential solutions to this. Feel free to reach out to me to discuss the particulars based on your specific case. But One is expedited processing. So USCIS, on a case-by-case basis, will grant expedited processing, where they will speed up the processing of a particular case if certain conditions or certain circumstances are present. Now, this is done on a case-by-case basis, and you must actually have a strong basis for applying. Otherwise, it won't get approved. What are some reasons why expedited processing would be approved? One is if there's an emergency situation, or if there's a situation like a humanitarian crisis, or if there's some sort of like a medical emergency of some kind, if there's a risk of some sort of extreme financial harm to a person or entity. So those are just some reasons why USCIS would grant expedited processing of a case. But keep in mind, if you're going to do expedited processing, you need to be prepared to back up your request with evidence. So that's just something to be aware of. So in conclusion, thank you for tuning in to our training. If you have any questions at all, feel free to go ahead and schedule a consultation with us. We'll offer a free initial consultation to discuss your questions. Or you can shoot me an email directly at michael@ashurilaw.com. So thanks so much for tuning in.